The Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
Good morning, class, and welcome back to the #1 Contender podcast, the show where your favorite nerds sit down and talk all things movie trivia schmodown. I am your host, Jarod the Dark Jedi Bachman Stubbs, and joining me, as always, is your resident Green Lantern dungeon head, Professor Black Leader Travis Grossman.
We're missing a match. Because I didn't realize the 15th was a Saturday.
Pardon?
We didn't get Gold Leader v. Marie Wilson. Because it comes out today.
Oh.
But I thought it was going to come out yesterday with the teams match. I was very confused all day. Like, where is it? Where's my Star Wars?
I'm starting to wonder if I maybe screwed up the schedule. Writing that down. No,
you're probably
well,
right.
if okay, so this will be dropping at noon Eastern, Saturday the 15th. So if we don't cover, or since we won't be covering Gold Leader versus Marie Wilson for the Star Wars tournament, expect it on next week's show, because I did not realize they were dropping a Saturday match. So expect that on next week's show. Not like we don't have enough to talk about already next week, but we do have a light week this week. Only got a few matches, but they were some. Pardon me. They were
may the Lord bless you.
Thank you. But they were some biggins, and they had some interesting trivia in them. We are going to jump right into our first match of the week. We have Thomas, the Major Harper of the Den, going toe-to-toe with Eric, the Knight Whiteley of the Quirky Mercs in the Star Wars tournament. I enjoyed this match a lot. Thomas Harper is shaping up to be another heavy hitter in the Star Wars division. Eric Whiteley is shaping up to be a great player who weirdly performs far better than they do in round 3 than they do in round 1. I think that he and Adam Witt suffer from the same mental hurdle that, like, it's kind of like the same way Spencer has joked about why he beats me in Star Wars Trivial Pursuit, where it's that, like, you forget the very, very, like, this is a line that is said in the movie because you're too focused on, like, how many toes does this species have type shit. Mm-hmm. And that, like, that weird differential where you're getting the absurd deep cuts, but stuff that's, like, actually spoken dialogue flies over the head.
You studied so many visual dictionaries that you forgot to actually watch Attack of the Clones. You know what I mean?
That's a good way of putting it. Speaking of Attack of the Clones, I feel so bad for Eric Whiteley because I know exactly what he did with that first question he missed.
I forget which question it was.
It was, what planet does Mace Windu say Obi-Wan and Anakin are on at the beginning of the Clone Wars? And yes, they are in Christosis, and it said that they are in Christosis. But I think he was thinking Attack of the Clones, because at the very beginning of Attack of the Clones, Windu says that Obi-Wan and Anakin had just helped settle a border dispute on Ancion. And the moment he said Ancion, I was like, buddy, you're one movie title away from having a really good, like, that's a good 5-pointer, Ancion. Mm-hmm. But I felt so bad. My heart broke for him. Because, like, that was just such a good pull for a question that wasn't asked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, it broke my heart. But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with Thomas Harper. There's
He's batting perfect-ish games, and that's really good.
yeah, it's a good sign. We've seen that sometimes it requires perfect play to secure the Star Wars belt. I also think that, now that Star Wars is officially not a novelty division,
Mm-hmm.
I think that the way we talk about Star Wars is going to have to change. Just like as not necessarily just on this show, but just as a fan base, right? That we need to realize that it's not always going to be the same person who's belted.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like take singles, for example. We take for granted that at any given point, Dan Murrell will probably be wearing a belt, right? But we're also aware of the fact that people can and will take it from him, and that other people will be in the proximity of the belt other than Dan Murrell at any given moment. We need
it isn't even catching Dan Murrell on a bad day either. Like he just has bad games sometimes.
Yeah. And he can be beaten. And now that we see that Alex Damon can in fact be beaten, Demolanta did it twice. That was like the big question that this podcast practically opened with. Can you beat Damon twice? I think that we need to start looking at players as like, oh, this person will be belted someday. Like we do that with teams, we do that with singles, we do that with IG. Star Wars, there isn't really that like, oh, this person, I will definitively say right now, this person can and will be belted at some point in the future. We don't really do that very often with Star Wars because in everybody's mind, it's like, okay, who's fighting for second place against Damon?
Yeah. I mean, that's literally like all season last season. I was like, okay, and you can scrap with people, but you're not going to beat Damon because he's going to go perfect on you. And you will miss a question in round 2 that Damon will steal, and you will be 4 points under going into round 3. And like that's just, like, and they're going to miss, get into their own heads, follow the pattern. And it took, Damon going into 50-point overtime, getting challenged, losing the challenge, and then missing then having a brain fart.
Yeah.
And then, caught him on a bad day because he's had a ridiculous week. And that's not to discount what Demolanta did by any means. It's just showing that like Damon has always been susceptible to the thing that Dan Murrell is susceptible to. It's just that we only saw him play like once a year. So it was never possible to be like, oh yeah, okay. Like, because like by comparison, Murrell defended the belt, played defense matches like 3 times last year after winning the belt. And like Damon has never had to defend it more than once in a year, I think, until this year.
Maybe twice, like count a collision or 2 in there. Like that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, you'd have like the other 2 or 3 Star Wars matches of the year.
Exactly. Like it's just, it almost wasn't worth talking about because you were like, well, yeah, they're going to play like 2 matches, get to Damon, Damon's going to beat him. And now it's,
and this is where I'm getting at, is that it's weird to say, I think Thomas Harper is going to be belted at some point.
Oh, absolutely.
It's weird using that phrase talking about the Star Wars division. It's kind of weird that like it's a real division now. That makes me happy because surprise, surprise, it's my favorite one. But yeah, I really do think he's going to be belted at some point. I think Eric Whiteley holds a lot of promise. I think him and Adam Witt need to be locked in a room to train together. Factions be damned, and just both of them get through round one together. It is just this round one hump, and then they crush it the other two. But
Yeah.
Gold Leader is moving on in the tournament, and I look forward to seeing.
You mean Thomas Harper?
I was looking at the notes. Thank you. I looked directly down at Gold Leader, and I was like,
Gold Leader. Yep, that's what I'm saying now.
Yeah, my brain, I completely Ron Burgundied it. Speaking of Ron Burgundy, I got an Anchorman board game for camp, where it's like you help build somebody a teleprompter, and if they can get pardon me, dear listener, allergies whooping my ass, because it actually feels like spring today, and my allergies don't know what season it's supposed to be, and today it's my turn to get my ass handed to me. But say it's your turn, I am going to create like a teleprompter that has like a bunch of ridiculous ass shit on it. If you laugh, I get a point if you can't get through it. But if you don't laugh, you get a point for successfully making your way through the teleprompter. Pardon me. We also have our next match of the week, Rushmore versus Lightning Time.
This is
Travis,
my biggest surprise of the week.
Talk about that for a moment while I put liquid in this bottle.
I expected this match to be a lot closer. He left. Ooh. Oh no, I'm the captain now. Ain't that right, Mario? Ain't that right, Mario? Okay. I can't do one person podcasting. This is too strange. I hope he doesn't edit this out. That'd be really funny if he did. I've been out of Mountain Dew since we started. I want more. But I can't leave. And I wouldn't do this to him because Lord knows I'm bad at it. Rushmore. He's back. I don't know if you ever go back and listen to what happens when you walk out of the room. It's just us.
Now I feel like I have to.
I didn't say anything you have to edit out, so at least there's that.
Well, that's good because I don't have time to edit anything out today.
I should have struck while the iron was hot.
I would have just suffered through the coughing if I could trim shit. Pardon me oh, sorry. What were you gonna say?
Just as you're leaving, like I said, this was my biggest surprise of the week. I thought this match would be way closer. We are seeing the power of opponent's choice on the wheel.
We're seeing the power of opponent's choice. We're seeing the power of, again, I will say it, and I will say it till the cows come home. I will say it till we're featured in a goddamn promo. Tom Dagnino is not good at many things. What he is good at is being a manager in the most literal sense of I am going to like Nick Fury together this cocktail of like vets and rookies and like have the right people teach the right people what to do, what they need to do. Again, his biggest hamstring is that he is not a big trivia guy. Like Homeboy has two categories that he can rock your world in. Like unironically, if you're playing against Tom Dagnino and he spins either Sly and Arnie or sports movies, you're done. It's game over. Like you will lose to Tom Dagnino. But like outside of that set of circumstances, he's not a trivia guy. Or he is, Like he's a bar trivia guy. I'm sure he cleans up house at like your local dive bar, right? But he's not playing on the level of as the people whom he's managing, right? And every time he just brings the pain with like the people he brings into the room. Like if Gucci keeps this up, there's a real manager of the year conversation to be had. Legitimately. Like aside from like loving Gucci as a meme, like Dagnino could be manager of the year. Like right now, it's him and it's Sam. Right? I think Kate Mulligan's up there as well because the Den is performing well. Like
I don't think anyone's doing bad this season. Like even, Corruption isn't doing too hot right now, but like Shannon knows what she's doing.
Yeah, Shannon's still being Shannon.
Yeah. So like
Corruption hasn't had its like, hey bitches miss us moment yet. Right? Like last season it was like Laura Kelly with those 2 wins. It was like the did you miss us? And then KO and Chance, running the tournament in the IG.
Wake up, Jarod.
Yeah. It's all been a dream. They haven't had their like we're here, get ready to get your shit rocked moment yet, right? Now I think they're starting to. I think Corruption's starting to really hit its stride. We're going to see what happens with Sullivan versus Cabrera next week. I love Sullivan, love Corruption. I am a little apprehensive about that matchup. We also have another big match for Corruption next week, but we're going to talk about that when we get to that.
There's a lot of big Corruption matches because the team's tournament. Oh, never mind. Team's tournament thing is the week after.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, Mikey isn't that busy next week. But yeah, I everybody's doing a great job managing, but like Gucci, Gucci's doing a good job because of the shit he caught for the decisions he made in the draft. Like, if people didn't so widely pan his decision about going with this almost all rookie lineup,
yeah, and
I don't think it, like what he's doing right now has as big of like an impact, right? Like it doesn't have the shell shock effect to it because everybody went into this season going, "What the shit is Gucci doing?"
And something else that I just thought of now is that like in doing that, if you're picking strong rookies, they're going to be playing other rookies. Because that tends to be with like usually rookies don't end up playing vet players until they've played a few other rookies, right? So I'm wondering if he like, not just him, but like him, Barbarian, Rocco were they sat down, they talked, and like mathematically, it just made sense to go. Well, we're gonna find all the strongest rookies we can. Because they're going to play other rookies off the bat, and that will
I have this dossier right here.
I have this. They're going to do these other rookies, and when you do, you trade you unlink the arms and you link arms with the next person, right? So they do the first time, and now they know what they're doing, and they're strong rookies, right? Like they're not picking bad people. So they do, and they're like, okay, now I know what I'm doing. I have a win under my belt. I feel confident in this sport now. And then they go on to play a vet. And they're more confident. So they're just more likely to get more match points. And like I think the flack Gucci caught was in the unprovenness of these rookies. And now that we're seeing these guys just clean house. And granted, rookies, Rushmore, like
yeah,
that's beside the point. But
yeah,
like,
and yeah, like this is Rushmore. Yeah, and the conversation at hand is Rushmore, but I don't think we can talk about
JTE would be just as dominant. They haven't answered a round 3 question yet.
No, they haven't. Those are one of those like those are one of those things that you don't realize how scary it is until you think about it for too long. You know, there's like, we haven't answered anything in round 3. Oh. Yeah.
Because that was last week. I had to think about it. I was like, wait, they didn't answer anything. Or not last week, the week before. I kept trying to think of like, well, wait, who took their 2 and who took their 3 and what were the They didn't have to. That wasn't a thing that happened. Something we didn't talk about last week was Ben Bateman getting the first official warning of the Schmoedown.
Did he? Did I miss that?
For just not shutting the fuck up. It was in round 3, and he kept badgering Zipper, I think. It was like in round 1, he was really bad in round 1, and then round 3 came around, and he like made this big point before the question was asked of like, I'm just really impressed by you guys. You guys brought it, or whatever. And like it sounded like he was being sincere, but it's Ben Bateman, so you never know.
Yeah.
And Harloff was like, okay, that's it's an official warning. Just stop talking.
I love Bateman for that very reason.
That's some shit he knows how to work too. Like his whole thing is stretching the game mechanics, right? Like you can shit talk for as long as you want till you get the official warning. So you're just gonna push it as hard as you can.
Yeah, right? Yeah. But in terms of Rushmore, like, you know, Gucci was barely present for this. And I also think
he doesn't need to be.
He doesn't need to be. He needed a team that he could leave on autopilot. And last season, he couldn't quite crack it. He couldn't quite crack it because Who's the Boss and Founding Fathers weren't quite autopilot viable. JTE and Roka, though? Just turn that. It's like a crock pot. Turn it on high and walk away. Right? Just let that shit simmer. This is the exchange is lethal this year. They are lethal.
I think the difference is both of those teams from last season was a mix of 4 singles players. Right? They've all played in teams before. They all played except for maybe Riley. I don't know if Riley had a team before.
Riley's been on teams before.
Okay, I figured, right? But they were all predominantly singles players. And just, well, of course we're going to team up. And they were strong teams, just working the team's format comes a little differently. So you throw Roka, one of those strong singles players, and someone who had, he knows teams well enough, with a JTE, and suddenly you have this team that just can't stop TKOing people.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And I think that what you just said, that the missing element for some of these guys is a teams player, right? Like someone whose bread and butter is that division. And I also think that between the way that we saw Rushmore play, the way we saw Danger Zone play, and the way that we saw our Deception play this week, there's the high bar and high value of good team synergy cannot be understated. I'm also looking at the notes, realizing that I have been spelling Danger Zone differently every time I've typed it.
Well, now I have to go back and look.
Because I have alternated between it being 1 word and 2 words. And did not realize that. I'm curious if what I'm looking at is a typo or if I thought it was 1 word.
I was hoping you had random letters in places that didn't make any sense.
No.
Like Danger Zone, but the O in zone is a 0.
Danger Zone. But no, yeah, all I'm going to say is this. I don't think there was any version of this tournament where there were 3 TKOs in a row for Rushmore. I don't think this ends in round This ends in a situation where they don't answer any round 3 questions. Regardless of who they were going to play next week, I don't think that was going to happen.
Absolutely not. Like between Danger Zone and I almost said Danger Zone and midterms because I'm looking at because it was that match hadn't been decided yet. Between Danger Zone and Deception, they absolutely would have taken the round 3. I will say, I don't know because it's gonna. The competition now is between Rushmore's just powerhouse synergy and Dan Murrell's luck.
That's the only reason they're making it to the finals. I'm sorry. Love, this is not me corruption dick riding right now. They won on luck.
Oh yeah.
They won on luck on this last one. Like,
they won on luck there. Murrell won on luck with his match against Collins. He won on luck against Bateman last year. He won on he went
as
to
much
overtime.
As I hate to admit it, as much as I don't want to admit it, I think Murrell won more than luck against Adam Collins. As much as I don't want to say that out loud, I think it was much more than that, like Murrell luck.
It was more in that match than it was. This match was just pure luck. Like it was just pure. They didn't have it. And for once the 5-pointer, it didn't matter that it was 5 points.
Yeah.
Because all they had to do was hit a question. And I don't mind joining you in blaming Jeremy Renner for anything. So regardless.
It was a hard match to watch. I said last week and, said it knowing that I wasn't necessarily going to be right. I wanted to, bet on my team and bet on the horse I thought had a lower chance. And, as much as I love watching Ben Bateman be the magnificent heel that he is, and after having like a season of like anti-hero Ben Bateman and being back to just frothing at the mouth douchebaggery as a character, at least, it was nice seeing that version of Ben Bateman get pimp slapped in round 2. And
yeah, which
in the way that Deception got to show their ass.
Yeah, and I
shut them up.
I think that's just like a bad day on their part because like I said, I checked what they spun, so they made the right choice, right?
They just got a bad hand, on release dates. Yeah,
there's, and
I also think there's something. I'm sorry for interrupting you. There's a weird strategy with movie release dates that I feel like there is no use in going to multiple choice for no other reason than like making the steal hurt less.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because every time they did it, it was like, all right, it's either 2006 or 2007. We're going to go to multiple choice. Your options are A, 2006, B, 2007, C, 2008, D, 2009. Like, what help did that do you at all? Like, it literally, like, you were stuck between 2 and it gave you the 2.
And I'm wondering if maybe that's where Bateman, like, because that's his category, if that's where he formulated his, like, hyper attack game plan that he swears by, that I don't disagree with, where you get arguably more benefit out of a JTE in round 2 than the multiple choice. Where, and like, you've seen other people adopt that. I think Harper did it in his game. Or no, he didn't have to repeat. He almost did because he had a question misheard. But like the idea of I'm going to get more points and I'm not going to get any help from the multiple choice. So I'm going to use my JTE to buy me time to think about it. He does that in more than just movie release dates. And just in like, it's I can see where he draws that from Magic,
Yeah.
because Magic players trick themselves a lot into making the defensive play without realizing they're just going to die anyway.
Yeah.
Like they play
So you
around,
might
like,
as well go out. You might as well go out swinging.
yeah, I'm going to play around this spell they might have that will kill me if they play it, and not kill them. And not realize that, well, if they have it, they're just going to kill you. So do the thing that might kill them first.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to, like, if I go to multiple choice, I will not get an answer that helps. Unless, like, hearing someone else say it's going to ding it for me. You know?
Yeah. And again, like movie release dates, like it's, like aside from the ones like the Jim Carrey one where it like actually gave you like a list of movies to pick from. Right. But like more often than not, like your multiple choice is just going to be a list of years, probably all the years that you're confusing
Within 4 years
confused
of
with.
each other.
Yeah. Also, I got the same exact incorrect answer as them with that question. I also thought it was the number 23. Also kind of because that's my favorite Jim Carrey movie. But
I've always
favorite-
been a Yes Man fan.
it's my favorite dramatic Jim Carrey role. I mean, like I'm really partial to The Mask, which I've been meaning to rewatch lately. There's like
I don't know if I've ever seen all of The Mask in one shot.
There's a TikTok sound from The Mask that's going viral at the moment. That's like people are using a lot. That's making me want to rewatch it. It's like the PARTY. Why? Because I gotta. And I'm just like, I need to watch The Mask right now.
Which
like,
means
in this moment.
right after that, though, you're going to have to watch Son of the Mask. Yeah, just for lore reasons. Just so you have the full story.
Canon to the MCU movie, Son of the Mask.
Yeah.
But no, Deception just busted ass this match, and you know, they were like that, and I don't want to shit talk Danger Zone. I am not going to talk, I don't want to ever shit talk any players or teams or anybody in the league. But like, and I also don't mean to talk down as a fan. Don't want to talk down to to a former champion and the reigning champion. But this does not feel like an earned victory to me. Like a lot of this came down to they got stuck between Bourne movies. And Ben Bateman could have cost them this game. With that, like we stay with movie release dates. We're going to stay on this. There was a whole lot of hubris there.
Which again, I don't think is the wrong call, because we've
he
seen that
he
happen.
didn't make the wrong call. He didn't make the wrong call. It was just like, like hypothetically speaking, let's say Teams IG becomes a thing. Let's say we're competing. We spin Star Wars.
We keep it.
We would keep it because you're good at it, and that's like my main shit, right? If I shit the bed on Star Wars, and we lose, that loss was my fault.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I think that's a similar thing we have here, is that Ben Bateman, of all people, and he's one of my favorites, and I don't want to harp on the guy because he's amazing at what he does, but there was just a like, I want to see Bateman come away from this at least on like a character level, I guess, like recognizing Deception has your number. You can't fuck around with them anymore. Because the entire promo, the entire pre-show is him talking about how adorable McKee and Collins are, talking about how, you know, they're kids who are trying to sit at the grown-up table, like talking it's like it's the kind of shit talk that you expect, but like it surprised me that was the direction Bateman went in, talking about deception. Like, again, and I know that's theater, right? I know that's the theatrical element here, but I was surprised that the angle Bateman took was one of, you aren't legit yet versus you're an up and comer. You know, like I was expecting the, like, you're getting too big for your britches, not you're a child, sit down. And
I mean,
like that was
considering
the element that surprised me.
the discourse around this tournament has been Danger Zone v Rushmore the whole time. So I almost said I don't disagree, but that's not true. I can understand how, like, that's where he ends up,
Yeah.
or whoever's, you know, like, that's where the writers end up or whatever.
Whoever decided that would be Bateman's angle of shit talk.
Yeah. Because even, like, they're a strong team, and, you know, Adam Collins is Adam Collins. We've seen that teams is just a different format, you know,
Yeah.
like in weird ways that you wouldn't expect. And
I agree.
I think at this point, Deception just needs to play more, right? Like they're getting their chemistry down, they're getting better, and like you said, like they outplayed them this match. They did. They, you know, the power of the 5-point. Like they missed one question that cost them the match. But that conversation of this team or player will be belted, Deception's in that list.
Yeah.
You
So's
know?
McKee as an individual player as well. Yeah.
So I think now they will be a little more cautious going into their match. Because, like, if they had landslid Deception, not even landslid, if they had gone into round 3 with their lead, in the same way they did with midterms, right? Where you go into round 3 with your lead, and you know that point for point they can't beat you unless you fuck up. So you don't, and then you win, right? If they did that with the midterms, I think there's more likely of a chance they lose to Rushmore, barring an act of God. Because, like,
I don't disagree with you.
it's like, because you go into Rushmore with a big head, you know, and, like, granted, these guys know what John Roca and JTE are capable of. Like, they're not actually going to underestimate them, but I think this is enough of a spook that we'll see a better match next week because of it. Again, barring
I
the
think
world
you're
where,
on
like,
something.
someone spins spinner's choice and someone spins opponents, which, like, is what I don't want to see. I want to see both teams, either both spin spinners, both spin opponents, or both get random categories.
You know, I think that there's a part of me that just feels some kind of way about this match because, like, it's not so much a Deception lost. It's the fact that, like, they were because, like we were saying, they outplayed Danger Zone. And I don't know. There's just something that's, like, really disappointing on that level. And I do want to see how that affects them. I think that Danger Zone has 2 players who are absolutely god tier, who have not as much synergy as if I were Kaiser, as I would like them to have. If I were John Kaiser, I'm a little about the lack of synergy there. Because there was a moment where like Bateman, where Merle was like, do you want to use another repeat? And then Bateman just multiple choice. Like, and you kind of saw Dan visibly like, why are we not communicating? Like, that's not happening with Roca and JTE.
Yeah. I mean, granted, they haven't been in a tough situation yet.
They haven't been in a tough situation yet, but
and I'm not saying it will happen when they do. Like, I think they're comfortable enough in their strength. Like Roka's put it best. Like, these guys are titans of the game in a way that they know when someone, like when one of them needs to take a back seat. Like, look at their first match. Roka barely answered anything in that match besides round 1. Like, round 2 was all JTE, and that wasn't because Roka didn't know the questions. It's just like they spun the category. JTE said, we need to keep this. And Roka went, all right, you got this. You know?
Yeah.
Like he knew to keep his hands off the wheel. And I think that's what they were going for this round 2 with Danger Zone.
Yep.
And Bateman like was maybe getting frustrated because of what, I haven't actually, I'm going to listen to it later today at work. Because I understand, I get like that too. Where like you're in the zone and now you have a teammate, but you're just in the zone. You want to get this question for yourself. So I think getting that down and hopefully not spinning movie release dates.
Something like that. I just, it's going to be interesting because the big differential here is the synergy, and I'm getting a little bit ahead of ourselves because that's the last match we have this week, so we're going to talk about predictions for next week in a minute here. But I'm just gonna jump ahead and say right now, my money is on Rushmore.
I think mine is too.
I
don't want it to be. But
and there's a part of me that would rather see it be Merle and Bateman take it home. I like their dynamic. I like the plot line of their existence. I like, I tweeted today, the image of seeing Kaiser standing next to Dan Merle and Ben Bateman as managers of their team is never not going to be so weird to look at, and I love it.
And I think also they like kind of predicted this. Like, they've set up the plot line of this team will fall apart as soon as it can. Right?
Yeah.
Whether it's Roka shit talking Bateman or just the fact that both of them in plot line are like, we're here for business. Like, we are strictly business partners.
Yeah.
In the exchanges, we kill the exchange. Right? Yeah. And I think they're primed for this to disband as soon as they lose to Rushmore. Possibly. If not, like, I want them to stay together. I think that they're
Me too, yeah.
With some work, they could be insane. But, like, there's just something electric about Rushmore that I want to see them play the odd. Like, I want to see them play the odd couple, not necessarily for the current title, but just in general, I want to watch that match.
I mean, it doesn't matter who wins this match because neither of them are getting past corruption.
Well, they're not going to beat Shazam, so it's fine. Shazam!
I really hope the people who watch and listen look forward to the weeks where it comes down to Dungeon versus Corruption.
You mean next week?
Yeah,
you mean next week?
I mean, they did this week, but like it was too. The sport is fun to watch this week for it to be too ugly. Next week, however, Travis and I will not be on speaking terms depending on who wins the match. The show is going to be us talking directly to camera, not addressing the other one.
I I gotta say though, like, it couldn't be a worse two. Not like for that reason, but because I want them both to win so bad. Like, I
Are you
want
talking
Mara
about
to
the oh yeah,
the
yeah.
Inner Geekdom title. I want Mara to defend so bad, not just because she's a dungeon member, but also because like you just want to root for her, right? Like, but at the same time, KO. And you want for the same reason. It's just like they're both such titans of Inner Geekdom that you're like, I want you both to have a belt. I want you both to be there.
Well,
honestly,
I think now is as good a time as any to just jump into next week's matches then.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find my cursor here. Hold on. All right.
I know we talked about it last week, but Gold Leader Marie Wilson, which we will find out in a few hours.
Yeah. Let's stand by what I said before. I think Marie Wilson has it. Or did I say Marie Wilson? I don't remember.
I think
now.
you did. I think we both did.
Okay. We'll go with that. Maybe my mind changed here. Teams tournament finals. It's been what we were talking about for this entire extended bit here. I think Rushmore's superior synergy is going to be what pulls them this W.
I think the odds.
Son of a bitch.
Wake up, Jarod. The odds for me went from like when the bracket came up and we knew who was who. I went, okay, that's 50-50 for me because we hadn't seen either team play. And then even off their first matches, it went 55-45 Rushmore. And now I think it's 60-40 Rushmore, right? Because again, we haven't seen Rushmore play through a bad round 2 or one of them having a bad round 1.
Yeah.
Because they had the exact same round 1 both games where Roka misses 1 and JTE goes perfect. Right?
Yeah.
So and not that I think that like they're going to crumble under the pressure of a bad game. I think quite the opposite will happen. I think they will be perfectly fine and they will like, you know, again, they're titans. They know what they're doing. They know you have bad days. So when they come out of round 1 and maybe Roka's only hit like 5 of 8, and they're like, all right, don't worry about it. We're going into round 2. We know what comes next. And then they spin Westerns and he's like, okay, I'm back on it, you know?
Yeah. So we're in agreement on that one. May 21st, Taylor Robinson of the Exchange versus Greg Alba of the Quirky Mercs in the Inner Geekdom.
Has Taylor Robinson played yet?
No. It's another rookie. So if you're a
I think
betting
the smart man, I think the smart man puts it on Robinson though.
Assuming patterns hold up. And then it looks like the big match next week has been turned into a versus, so there will not be an undercard.
Oh no, I thought they announced the undercard. I thought
it's just a versus. No, isn't it?
I thought it was Janine v. McKee. I saw that pinned up somewhere.
Well, we would. Okay, well, let's go with that then. Janine the Machine versus Marisol McKee.
I mean, we know that match is happening, so we can just talk about it really quick.
Yeah. As much as I love Janine, I
think the money goes on McKee.
I think McKee's just a little bit out of Janine's weight class. At least right now, like that's just the vibe I get. I think Marisol is just a little bit a peg above Janine. Not that I don't think she wouldn't give McKee a run for her money, but I don't quite see Janine being able to pull that W away from McKee. That's just me, though. Could be wrong. Could very well be wrong, but I don't think that is how that match would go. I thought I saw that the KO Canopic 3 is a versus. That's why I'm assuming there isn't an undercard.
Yeah, it is a versus, but there is a so it's here.
Is that I can't quite see? Is that
Yeah,
McKee and Janine?
Yeah, it's McKee and
Okay.
Janine. Because I saw the match card for them, and it was just like undercard for the Inner Geekdom, and I was like, okay, that makes sense. That's what I figured would happen. But I hadn't seen it anywhere else. So I was looking through the Facebook group and went, wait a minute, they sell this match. I'm just going to go to where they're selling this match.
I didn't see that got announced properly. Thank you.
So
your thoughts on McKee v. Janine?
I think it's McKee. I think because, and again, nothing against Janine. I think it'll be a very even match.
Mm-hmm.
But she, you've said it, and I've agreed. McKee has the potential to get a belt. I think it'll be funny because watching Grace squirm is funny. And I hope whoever wins this loses to Kevin Smith, because I want to see Kevin Smith play a title shot, because I think that'll be hilarious.
I hate that's what is so conflicting here. Is that like Corruption is my favorite faction and has pretty much all of my favorite players except for a few that are spread amongst other factions, and it hurts so much for Corruption players to have to break up these goddamn plot lines that I'm enjoying so much. Like, I want to see Kevin Smith play Dan Murrell. You know who I want to see play Dan Murrell more? Marisol McKee. Like, I can't. Like, there's a part of my brain that has like just a little bit tipped more into sport than pro wrestling element, or like I'm more invested in the actual outcome of like points and shit than I am in the plot lines and the theatrics. Just very slightly, just barely. Now for the best promo match I've seen in a long time. The way the promos have been edited for this are so good. I love the, like, however many victories, championship, one defeat, and it just slowly fades into KO with the lollipop in his mouth. Nerd Chronic, you deserve an Oscar, man. Travis?
This, at the top of the season, we both said we didn't know what this would mean for veteran IG players, because everything is just so, up in the air now. There's so many new categories. People aren't necessarily ready for this. I think we have two vets that are ready, that were ready for this. Like, beyond, like, they were told and prepared and stuff. Like, they just already had the knowledge for these movies. And that this will be one of the closest IG belt matches ever played. Right? Like, because they've both only ever played one match in this new IG. Like, it's not like one, like, KO had to fight his way up and has now had more experience where I could give him the edge, or that Mara, like, has defended the belt twice already and has the edge. Like, they're both one match deep, both with incredibly impressive showings. And I have no idea who to give the nod to. I mean, like, I want to give it to Mara, just for, Dungeon's sake. But because that's another title defense for the Dungeon.
I literally have nothing to add to this, because you literally took the words out of my mouth. With the, it's so these are the two players we've seen perform the best in the new IG. And
because you think about it, you're like, well, they're so used to the old one that, like, there's no way that their knowledge expands that far. But then you look back and you realize that, like, yeah, Mike misses the occasional MCU question when he brain farts, or the occasional Lord of the Rings question, but also he hits every question about the Phantom. Like, he never doesn't know that movie ever. And it's like, oh, wait a minute. Right. Like, they just love weird ass movies. And that's what IG is now.
Yeah. The IG is the franchise category. And I agree with you. Obviously, I'm pulling for KO. I'm gonna be so happy if he's belted. I'm gonna be nothing but smiles if he walks away with this. If Mike the Killer Kalinowski is belted again next weekend, I am going to be giddy. Like this, like we are back to the way things are supposed to be around these parts. If my boy has a belt on his shoulder again,
Really quick.
I am
really
yes.
quick. I gotta say, I said I think it was on TNAP last week that I'd finally stopped getting Zack Snyder headlines.
I'm sorry.
I jinxed myself because they're back. I'm so upset. Anyway. And you know that means the first question next week's going to be about Watchmen.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's going to
be
be
the first thing out of his mouth.
It's going to be a question about Watchmen, followed by a question about BVS, followed by a question about Zack Snyder's Justice League, followed by a question about Dawn of the Dead for some reason.
Dystopian future. Zombie apocalypse.
I don't know if it does take place in the future. It takes place in like 2001.
It doesn't take place in the future, but like that event's going to shape the future. It's apocalyptic.
Do you think they count zombie movies in that?
Probably not. But yeah, no, I obviously want to see it come back to Mike. I want to see him have his belt back. And yeah, no, I agree with you completely. These are the two players who have done the best in this. I love watching Kalinowski and Kanopik go blow for blow. And it's going to be a good time next week. I'm very, very, very excited. But yeah, I think that's all we have for you guys this week. Travis, where can the lovely people find you, my friend?
They can find me spilling government secrets on Twitter and Instagram at Travis Political. And they can... I'm referring to my Roadrunner tweet, which I'm very proud of.
It was very funny. I was also very confused as to what you meant for a second. But I did quite enjoy the Roadrunner tweet. Check out Operation Midnight Climax. It's a phenomenal podcast. I've been saying this to both you and anybody listening. Check out Operation Midnight Climax because it is both the funniest and most disturbing shit I've ever heard about the United States government. And that's saying something because I listen to a lot of Behind the Bastards.
What they don't want you to know is that the way Castro actually died was the CIA painted a road onto a cliff and then told him that was the way they needed to be going, and he just slammed into the cliff. They can find me on Twitch on Wednesdays at 8-ish Eastern, Black Leader 439, streaming Assassin's Creed, because for some reason I do that now.
Exclusively.
Jared.
Yes.
Where?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552, and you can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, where, if you're feeling generous, you can donate to our Patreon page. Speaking of our patrons, thank you to our $10 alumnus, Case and Brion, the Waffle Wizard, Delta 9, and Zach Knaus. You guys help us make the content that we love to produce. Be sure to consider the $5 tier of the Patreon, where we do exclusive shows like the Knights of the Nerd Republic Versus series, which we will be recording our latest installment of very soon once Spencer is back home from school. I think Travis and I are going to get a move on with Heroic History 101 again very soon. Now that I think we finally cracked the code on our scheduling issues. I think we got it. I think we're getting there. Make time to read the comic books. Hopefully, maybe we'll do it. Believe in us. and the audio commentaries for Nerd Academy Movie Club. We're starting up Star Wars month. We did our audio commentary for A New Hope the other night. Devin, who has not seen A New Hope since he was a 5-year-old child, did not remember what happened to Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. So I think $5 is well worth hearing his reaction to that. I laughed very hard at his reaction to seeing the charred
at the
bodies.
corpses, not his reaction. Just like
Yes,
you do every time you watch New
yeah.
Hope. You laughed at the charred corpses of a boy's parental figures.
The only thing funnier than Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru is Alderaan.
Yeah.
Be sure to check out the Nerd Academy Student Store on our website, where you can access to all manner of Nerd Academy merch and goodies. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, do the things. Palpatine did nothing wrong, and smash cancer.
Stop! Move away from the cookie jar!